Hello everyone and welcome to the first tutorial on the channel where I'll be sharing my 5 tips for being more productive in survival Minecraft, with a bonus tip at the end, so stick around. Tip number 1. To-do lists. So we're starting things off with a pretty obvious but easily overlooked one, the to-do list. Now, whether you guys have a notepad or notebook on your desk next to you, or if you have an entire wall in your base dedicated to having to-do lists, or you take it even a step further, make yourself a lamp wall to keep track of all the farms that you want to build. Keeping a to-do list is a great way to get started, and quite frankly, it's probably the most important one. If you don't have a good base to start from, then there's just no organizing the rest of it, really. Tip number 2. Creative planning. Now, the next one might seem counterintuitive at first. Why would you want to build something twice if you can only build it once? But bear with me for a second. Let's say you have 2 separate designs and you can't decide on which one you want. You come into your creative and you play around with it and you figure out which one it is that you want. Also, if you, for instance, make a mistake, it's a lot quicker and a lot easier to fix it this way. And you can get a hold of all the blocks a lot easier. So there's that. And then you could also come in here and test your redstone, which that's very loud and also very fun. But yeah, testing your redstone or maybe just testing a build. It's all going to save you a lot of time in the long run. But that being said, it is also worth mentioning that it is very helpful to plan your builds out in survival itself. So you would want to build a little town or something. You go, house number 1, you lay out some foundation. And you go, okay, so we need a path next to that. You lay that out. Then another house would come over this side, and you got a little space. You want to put a fountain. So planning out in survival, but also planning in creative can be very, very useful. Tip number 3, storage. We've all been there. Chest monster growing, can't find what you're looking for. Nothing chews away at your time and productivity more than an unorganized storage system. Now, I'm not saying that everyone needs a multi-item sorter or even a redstone sorting system altogether, but some form of an organized storage system is going to save you heaps of time. And while we're on the topic of storage, having an organized ender chest is an absolute must for me. I don't think I'd be able to play survival Minecraft without one of these anymore. It's a subject that I could and probably will do a whole video on in the future, so have a look out for that. If you've never defeated the Ender Dragon or owned a shulker box in your life, I think this is a very good reason to do so. And by the way, the link will be down in the description for Rapscallion's multi-item sorter that I use because he is a genius and he deserves more views and subscribers. So go over there and check it out. Now, if you guys have found any of this useful so far, I would really appreciate a like on this video because it's about to get a little controversial. Tip number 4, mods and tools. Now, before you guys start spamming vanilla best down in the comments, let me explain. I'm not talking about Tinker's Construct or Pixelmon or any of those sorts of mods. I'm talking about utility mods like Lightmatica, World Edit, and Mini HUD. I will link all 3 of those down in the description, and let's be honest, all the cool kids are using them. That includes all your Minecraft YouTubers that you guys watch. So let's begin with World Edit. And there are plenty of tutorials out there to teach you all the basics of World Edit, but I'll give you a brief example of some of my favorites. One being the stack command, which is very helpful for planning out builds, for measuring, for just multiplying things. Like if I wanted to take this and just, copy it 1 over, then I would just do something like this, and boom, I got it copied 1 over, which isn't exactly what I wanted to do, but whatever. So then there is the replace command, which is very handy also. If you just, let's see, which one was it? Brass block to smooth stone. There we go. See, now it's all smooth stone, which saves you a lot of time in the planning phase. So again, when it came down to why would I want to build something twice, when you're in creative, things can be sped up a lot. Another one of the world edit commands that I like using the most is the replace percentage. So if I wanted to texturize this wall, for instance, I would then just do that. 50% gray concrete, 50% gray wool. I got a texturized wall. Now you can play around with this if you don't like this being, too many wool blocks right next to each other. You can come in and play around with it, but it does save you a lot of time in the long run to be using that. So next up is Mini HUD, and Mini HUD is a very feature-rich mod that is super handy. One of the main features is the F3 screen that is totally customizable in the top left-hand corner. Usually I just play with coordinates to help me with that. But for this example, I have time, coordinates, facing position for any of you playing around with the armor stand data pack, which I know there are tons of you that are using that on your servers or in single player. And then biome, which is just, for the example. But the main reason I actually use Mini HUD is for the light level overlay, because this will save you a bunch of time in design, but also in survival. If you just want to be lighting up caves very efficiently, this is a great way to do it, because it will tell you exactly how far the light travels. Green is non-spawnable, and then red is spawnable. But let's say you're designing something and you want to save yourself some time, and you have this little house, this little room, and you want to put maybe a lamp there. Right now you see, okay, so this corner isn't lit up, it's not spawn proof. I mean, you can put just a lamp there. You could even try and put a light source under that plant if you want. But you could also just come in here and be like, okay, so this area requires a little bit of spawn proofing. Might as well chuck a carpet down there. And boom, that's it. No running around with the F3 screen looking at light levels like this, because who has time for that if you want to be productive? And finally, in my top 3 choices of mods is Lightmatica. Now, Lightmatica is a fantastic mod for saving you some time. Basically, you can make a blueprint out of whatever it is that you want to do. So let's say this one's going to be my assist bot, and I then just make a little schematic of it, and I can take this into my survival world. Let's just trim that up a little bit. So we only need the very base. Again, this is another one that there are plenty of tutorials out there. I'm not going to go in depth about how this works, but we can see just a little example. So let me show you. All right, so once you're back in your survival world, you can just come in here and load up the schematic that you have saved. You can move it around. And in this case, also, you actually need to rotate it. So that can be done. Put it in place where exactly you want it. And there you go. You have a blueprint of the build in your survival to help you build it faster and more efficient. Another great feature of this mod is that there is a material list, and this is super handy for when you're resource gathering. Currently, I have all the materials on me because I was a smart boy before this. So one of the cool things about the mod, again, another cool thing, is that you can pick block the actual schematic, which is a great way to get this thing built. All right, guys, and there we go. Built in survival, no mess, no fuss. Now, what I usually like to do right at the end of a build is turn on the schematic overlay rendering. This helps me see if I've missed any blocks, or if any blocks are in the wrong state, or sometimes, let's just see if I have this here. Purple would show that it's supposed to be an air block, and if it's the wrong block, then it would show up red. These are all very handy for checking your builds in the end. I'll fix this thing up later, and that is it for mods. Tip number 5, just get started. Alright guys, tell me if this sounds familiar. You go to log in with every intent of starting your new project. You go to your storage room and you proceed to jump around for 15 minutes. Just, you know, checking chests, maybe having a little soak in whatever cauldron or thing you have around. And then you just proceed to log out again. Yeah, we've all been there. If you followed at least the first 3 tips, this should happen a little less, but it will still happen, and it's up to you to say frick it and get going. You know as well as I do that once you do start, your motivation will kick in, because we love playing Minecraft, and let's face it, you clicked on this video because you want to get it done, so go and get it started right now. But before you do, bonus tip time. YouTube is your friend. When you're stuck for inspiration, or just stuck on a specific problem, it's always good to try and learn and solve it yourself. But don't forget that there are answers to almost every question out there on YouTube. So with that said, subscribe for more content from me, Sir Derpol, and I will see you all next time. Have a fantastic day, and see ya.